So this is my cute little rig for shooting myself. All products I mention in this video will be linked in the description so you can check them out. Let's get into detail. Lately I made a change in my filmmaking approach from creating visuals to story-driven short films, starring myself and my beloved dog Mala. So I had to put together a simple, not too heavy rig for shooting myself easily. Off to the core of the rig, the camera. It's the A7S III. Since it was released a couple years ago, I fell in love with it. It has everything I always wanted: the right codecs, 10-bit color, a small size factor, super reliable, great battery time. I'm shooting my projects mostly in 24-25p for that cinematic motion blur we are used to from cinema. For some rare slow motion shots I go with 50 or 100p. To get most dynamic range out of the footage, I'm using S-Log3, S-Gamut Cine 3. I've been really enjoying the vintage Canon FD line in the past years. Been shooting a lot with the 24mm FD SSC and also with the 50mm SSC. I think these lenses have a really great character, are not so clinically sharp, have really beautiful colors, they harmonize really well together. They are also pretty affordable. The SSC line is a little bit more expensive, but if you're looking to dive into this vintage game, I can recommend you the Canon FD line without the SSC. They're even more affordable and pretty much the same. What made me buy the Canon FD lenses was actually a video from Diffusion. They made a really good video on the Canon FD lines, legendary cine lenses on the budget. This video is more like a movie. They put so much work in it, but beware, watching this video you might have to buy some Canon FD glass as well. So I had the 24mm and the 50mm for a long time now, a really great combination between wide angle and then really portrait lens with the 1.4 aperture, which gives you the really great background separation bokeh shots. I love the bokeh of the 50mm. It's not only super soft, it also has some little bubbly characteristics. I see myself shooting most of the time above 1.4, around 2 or f3. Since I'm shooting myself, it's super hard to get myself in focus on 1.4, so a little bit more closed aperture makes more sense. To adapt the Canon FD lenses, I'm using a really affordable K&F Concept FDE adapter, just an analog adapter. I wish there would be a lock integrated, so the adapter is really locked to the camera, because sometimes the lock opens while shooting and then the aperture is always fully open. I don't know if it's possible mechanically, but it would be nice once you lock in, you can press a button or something so your lens with the adapter is really locked and you don't have to think about your aperture going wild. Lately I felt that macro shots can really add some detail, some more drama into your edits, can support your story. I really enjoyed adding that to my latest short film, and to match the look of the Canon FD line I got the Canon FD 100mm f4 macro lens. This one is not the SSC version, and I got it with the Canon extension tube FD50. You can mount them to get even closer to your objects. In combination with the extension tube you can get close, but if it's not enough, I'm using diopters on top and attach them to the front of the lens to get really super close. They work like magnifying glasses for your camera. I'm using really cheap diopters from Amazon for 20 bucks. Also with my regular lenses, if my regular lenses are not getting close enough to what I want to shoot, I just add a diopter on top. They have 4 different strengths, and then I can get as close as I want. Off to diffusion filters. I love adding diffusion to my images, just makes the image more pleasing, a little bit softer, less digital, adds a glow to the highlights, and also pleases skin tones very well. I'm using actually my own diffusion we developed in the past years with the community, and now we are actually bringing out my diffusion in combination with a variable ND filter. It has some of the best vignetting in the game in combination with one of the best diffusion in my opinion, going from 1.5 to 5 stops, being color neutral, super well built. There went a lot of preparation and improvement into this filter, and now I'm really proud that it's part of my daily kit. For darker scenarios I'm using MABO Glow without the ND, but mostly when shooting outside, the VND with MABO Glow in combination is always on top of my cameras. The Canon vintage lineup is great, but they are manual focus only, so I had to come up with a solution to focus on myself while shooting. So to solve that, I chose the small rig cage to attach a follow focus and a handle. The cage also protects the camera, makes it a little bit more heavier for less micro shakes. We got the wooden handle also for better handling while shooting handheld, which is not so prominent when shooting myself. I chose the wireless follow focus system Magic FIZ with this little wheel here, attached the little focus rings around my vintage lenses, calibrated the motors, and we were good to go. It's really fun how precise you can set focus, but of course you need some more preparation, setting up the follow focus, calibrating it. So most of the time I saw myself just leaving it off the rig, focusing to an area by hand, and then adjusting my position in the frame. That was often more convenient and quick rather than having to take the battery for the follow focus, have this thing also in your hands. But for shoots where I really want to be on point and have maximum flexibility setting up a shot with myself in the frame, this thing really helps. But you might wonder, how do I check if I'm in focus when being in distance to the camera, right? That's where the Sony monitoring app comes into play. The monitor and control app from Sony, you can connect it to your camera and then it works like a monitor. You can check all details on your phone, exposure, change shutter. You can also activate zebras, negative color. The new app from the newer version is really good and also sharper. I had a problem with the older version of my camera. I just upgraded this year. The transmission was not really high resolution. I really had difficulties to see if I'm in focus or not. But with the new app, it's sharper, you got more options. Sometimes the app interrupts and you have to reconnect your camera. That's a little bit annoying. You might want to higher the standby time of your camera since the app is disconnecting when the camera goes into standby mode. Regarding sound, I used the Rode Video Mic Pro Plus. Really solid microphone, has a built-in battery. It turns on and off with the camera automatically once connected. You have some decibel settings, +20, -10. I'm always going the lowest possible in camera, so the noise is the lowest. For the voiceovers, I'm using the Zoom H4n Pro, which I'm recording with right now, to make the sound in my voiceovers even better. I take a blanket, throw it over myself, cover myself with it, so the sound is really isolated, and then I record some deep stuff in my little cave. I mostly shoot with the Siri travel tripod, the Traveler 7A. This is a really light but stable tripod. I love how we can adjust the height really easily with these turning mechanisms. Siri sent me this and I'm really happy with it. I'm using a Kaiser fast exchanging plate so I can unmount the camera easily. Besides shooting on a tripod, lately I've been using a lot these small rig magic arms with the magic clamp. You can just clamp it anywhere you want. I clamped it to my windows for some shots. You can clamp it on little objects, make them follow around in a room, place them somewhere. Makes a really interesting POV perspective. See it everywhere on Instagram and YouTube. People putting it on their bikes, on their cars. This thing can really add a captivating angle to your film. I love it. That's about my setup for filming myself. I really enjoy shooting with the look of the vintage FDs in combination with my diffusion. The vintage macro lens adds a really interesting new perspective to them. But at the end, it's not the perfect setup or variety of lenses you have. What really matters are your ideas. Get really practice with the equipment you have, creating possibilities with what you have and what surrounds you. I think that's really what matters and what's about to improve your work. If you have any questions or no questions, anyways, comment in the comment section. It really helps. Like the video. That's it for this video. See you in the next one. Peace.